right, welcome back to another Thursday night evening with SirLucien and crew. We're about to jump back into Storm King's Thunder. We had a fantastic couple of sessions, and we finally got back around to our Thursday group. And we're ready to continue a battle. Previous battle had started. Currently, you're looking at the map, though, just to get us re-caught up that where they were before. They had just left, well, not just left, but had left Zymorvan Hall as the group that's on their way to Star Metal Hills. There's a village there that they're going to be looking for, but they are on their journey after they rode across the Ralvin Road, got a boat across Rivermoot, and then headed down the hills and was heading south. They had learned that something sinister and nasty had happened to Nesme, so they skipped over that, and they are now heading south, getting ready probably to head west again at some point, which will bring them over to Star Metal Hills, which is over here. All right. So, but before, when we last left, or when we last saw our heroes, as many of the other D&D games said, or let's see where they were. Let's jump over our map so our players can see and remember what the heck was going on. I hate this map. I apologize. It takes a second or two to load in. It's one of the maps where I tried to make it by creating a tile and then using the same tile 9 times because I thought, oh, that'd be easy. Didn't work out the way it did. It ends up being more resource hog than I wanted it to be. So it'll take a second to log in. But once you're in, you will see we currently have our battle engaged. We had some hill giants who had set up a poorly designed ambush for our adventurers, who quickly kind of figured out where they were. But once our adventurers had turned away, the hill giants decided to attack by throwing rocks and running towards them. Battle ensued. I believe Jarral lost a horse is how that happened. So we're down a horse, even though we don't see the horses on the map. And then we had our bard call a lightning storm. So over above us, a roiling storm has formed, dark clouds, and lightning flashes above, and then every now and then he's able to call it down and strike with devastating effect. We had Edram, who had shifted but had taken a hit hard enough that it brought him back to human form, I believe, and then he conjured this awesome giant elk of the forest, and what we saw was this giant elk, but it's really kind of made of a lot of its fur and a lot of its skin and stuff is like grasses and trees and branches, and it's a fey creature in the form of this giant elk who is come to help in their battle. Tovi has charged forward, which is our knight, who is from the Silvery Moon Knights, and is charged forward to engage the hill giant head on. Great sword wielding. And Jarral, I believe we have that symbol on you because I think you climbed the tree. Is that, or are you just in cover? It was either
I think I'm in cover.
Okay, yeah, you're in cover.
Yep.
So he's in cover from the rocks that are flailing all about at this point. And I think that's where we're going to pick up tonight's episode. We're going to jump right into battle, and we're going to finish this off and see how or what our adventurers do next. So we finished at the bottom of the list. The very last thing Edram had done was summon the giant elk. We rolled initiative for him, so now it's at a 19 at the top of the order, which is really good for him. And maybe I want to put it over here. So I gave you a character sheet for him, I believe, Edram, so that you can use and take a look at, just so you remember what it can do. Okay. I think you can move the token. If you can't, let me know. But you should have your movement stuff, your action, all that stuff. So we're at the top of the order as this very cool, fey-spirited giant elk is beginning to move, and it follows the commands of Edrim, so he's able to say things like, attack this target or something like that, and it will obey them and help out. So it's a cool spell. First time we got to see it. But you are up as a giant elk. What would you like to tell your giant elk to do?
Well, at the end of my last turn, I had requested that the elk attack the hill giant to the south.
Yeah, all right.
So a charge, if they have at least 20 feet of movement straight toward a target, they take an extra 2d6 damage. And they can take a DC 14 strength savings throw or be knocked prone.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, so I think you have what's their move? What's the elk's movement?
60.
Yeah, so I mean you're at the perfect zone for a 20-foot charge right at the guy. If that's who you're going for. If you go for the other one, you're still at 20, I would say. Yeah, so either one you could charge. And feel free to move them around, and let's get this going. Oh, you know what I don't have? I should have. Oh, that was the one thing I forgot.
I have permission to move
okay.
the token.
Yeah, cool. Let me check.
But
hold on, we can do it. Let's get it working. Giant elk name, controlled by character settings. Represents character. Oh, I see. Represents character. Yeah, why is that? So what if I said, don't I have an Edram - giant elk? Save changes. How about now?
Yep, now I can move them.
There we go. We'll get it right.
Okay, and the attack roll was a 20 and a 26.
Cool. All right, so yeah, so the 20 is going to be a hit. Let's get my hill giant out here. That's the one thing I don't have out. Yeah, 20 is definitely a hit, so you'll get to roll your damage.
And then the bonus damage for the charge.
Ooh, nice. So a total of, so the first one is just the 12 plus 11. Man, nice. 23 points of damage. Cool. And they will need to make tell me that DC again for the check.
DC 14 strength.
Strength. Oh, he's pretty good at strength, though. So we see the elk charge forward, full antlers down, charges into the gut of the hill giant, who tries to grab it, and is going to try to still stand as he gets hit. Here's the strength check. 14. Did I make it? Okay, so he kind of holds on and he gets jarred back from the charging elk, but now they're kind of locked in battle as he's able to still keep his standing, but he wasn't able to grab him, but was able to remain on his feet without being knocked over. But that was a good amount of damage, as he has some wounds now, some puncture marks on the belly of the hill giant. All right. You would have movement left if you want, but moving out of his range would probably be attack of opportunity. I don't know if you want to do that or not, or if you just want to stay there and fight.
Nope, he is going to stay there and go for a trample next turn.
Cool. All right, Hill Giant's turn. They rolled a high initiative, even though they were pretty dumb and bad at their plan of their trap here, but they were vigilant and were ready to battle. So let's start up. Tovi is going to try to fend off this two-handed giant club this hill giant is wielding, as he has marks all over him, as she carved out huge wounds in him in the last round, and he is enraged. In fact, he yells out, "Gog Malug, no like you," as he is bleeding profusely, but he wants to strike back. He's able to make 2 Great Club, but let me change the, let's say, advantage toggle. We don't want to whisper rolls, and we don't want to auto damage. So and we'll show the NPC's name. Yeah, that all sounds good. All right, now we got all our cool stuff. So this is a normal attack. Great Club number 1 against Tovi. Oh, who we also need open so I can see what her AC is. I don't know why I forgot to have her ready to go. There's Tovi. All right, character sheet, good. Oh, nice. She has a great AC. Perfect. Okay. Great Club swing number 1 at Tovi. For an 18, which is exactly what the Hill Giant needs to make a strike. So we're going to hit for 14 bludgeoning damage on Tovi for the first one. So you see her rock back by this giant kind of club with knobs and little spikes out of it as it rocks into her armor and dents a couple of the plates. Swings around, brings this Great Club straight down for a 15, and it smashes into the ground as Tovi dodges to the left and avoids being hit a second time by this Great Club. All right, sweet. Then the giant is going to... The second giant is now going to try to hit our elk. Our giant elk. So the first swing of the Great Club is an 18. Edram.
Should hit.
Okay.
It's a hit.
Let's roll a damage. So it swings around and does 22 bludgeoning damage to the elk. So we'll take off 22. He still has about half of his health left as it gets battered across the side and moves a foot or so over. There's a big puncture mark on the side of this giant elk who rears out with a bleeding sound and looks to try to avoid the next shot as the next Great Club comes in. Oh, 22 hits also. Hopefully it's a roll low. Oh, it is. It's 18. Poor elk has taken another hammering shot to the head. Wobbles a little bit, but it stands firm. Barely. It's not looking very good, but is still in front of the hill giant fighting for its life. Fighting at Edrim's command. All right, I think that's our hill giant's turn. And let's see, that'll bring us to Ardreth, being played by PB tonight. Ardreth was not able to make tonight's show, so we just brought in our Elven Ranger to help out. She's pretty good at knowing what the bard will do, we hope. We'll see. No prep to get ready. We'll just throw her in there. And also, just as a side note, pretty soon we will have our new cast member on the show joining us probably in the next session. And so we'll do all our introductions then. So stay tuned as we have a surprise new cast member join the team. And that should be pretty good coming up. So, all right, Ardreth. Now you have command of a roiling storm above that you have the ability to call down bolts of lightning if you wish. I believe that's a concentration spell. And you don't have to use it if you don't want to, if you want to do something else, but because it stays just sitting up there in the general vicinity until, I think it's like a 10-minute spell.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I can see, just trying to see how much I can move it whenever I want. Okay, sweet. Where is this call lightning?
It was a big enough radius over all of the giants at the moment, and they have not moved. So at this point, It's just kind of centered between the two of them as far as a big giant radius.
Is it a big giant radius?
I think so. I think we'd have to bring the spell up again if I recall, but I'm pretty sure it was.
I have it. Just a second.
Each creature you can swim, choose. Each creature within 5 feet of that point must make a dexterity saving throw. Have a smudge each of your turns. Call lightning times 7-1. If you are towards, no, that's not important. Oh, first one.
It's a 60-foot
10.
radius.
Yep.
Yeah,
60-foot radius, 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
All right, so I will. Sure, why not? As I make my way. Over here, behind this tree, or bush, or whatever that is.
Okay.
I am going to call down lightning, which is. Do they always have to make this deck save, or is it just that one time?
No, it's each time a lightning comes down, they have the ability to try to move out of the way if possible. You are on a horse currently too, so
I'm on a horse.
if you're going
shit.
to cast, I think we said you could cast and move, but but you had to have skills to fight and move. So I think casting is okay. So
Okay.
just keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, is it casting if I'm just calling it back down?
Oh no, I was just meaning in general. Keep that in mind that you're on a horseback. You're not trained to necessarily fight from horseback.
How does that work? Oh no.
So I just
there
keep that in mind.
All right, so that is going to be 3d10,
Okay.
and they have to make a dex save of 14, I believe.
Okay, and which one are you going to target it to? Because I don't think they're close enough to get both. Correct. It's each creature within a 5 foot of the spot you choose makes the dex save. So.
Oh well, is there one that's more damaged than the other ones?
The one straight south of you is definitely significantly more damaged. The other one looks to be barely wounded.
All right, I will do it towards that guy, the one that's barely wounded.
Okay.
Let our fighter deal with that other guy.
Now let's do a normal dexterity save, which they're terrible at. They only got a 10, which I do not believe beats it, so it should be a full damage hit. You said 24?
24. Yep,
Oh,
24
nice.
damage.
Let's get back so I can select my token. Nice hit. So a lightning bolt streaks down from our storm above, crashes into the shoulder, and you see even the ground around where its foot is turns black as the bolt of lightning smashes into him. Lets out another roar and raises his club into the sky, shouting at the sky. Doesn't even know that it was you that did it. Rages at the storm and is getting ready to try to kill this elk in front of him so he can go and feed on these elves and half-elves and humans before him.
And I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Bardic Inspiration at our fighter right there, whatever their name is. I'm like, good luck, have fun.
Yep, Tovi. So we'll put Bardic Inspiration on Tovi. Let's do... what we need is what they need is like a banjo. They have a banjo symbol. So I think I'll just go with the flag. That seems like a rallying inspiration. And I think for yours, because of your level, it's a 1d8 add, correct, right now? We usually ask Ardreth that, but I think that's it.
Yep, it's a 1d8.
All right. So that brings us to Jarral's turn. You were up, sir.
All right. Jarral, having seen everybody now engaging with these guys, he is going to what is her name?
Edram?
Tove?
Tove?
Who?
Ardreth. Tove?
Toven. How does she look from where he's at?
Not very hurt yet. She has plate armor on, and it looks like a few of the plates have definitely taken a significant brunt. She has maybe just a small wound at this point, but it looks like her armor was able to absorb quite a bit of the hit she has taken thus far. So she seems like she's not even phased at this point. It looks like she's still hale as can be as she fights this thing toe to toe.
All right, and which of the two giants looks in the worst shape?
Definitely the one Tove has been fighting. She put in that last round 3 big greatsword hits on it that just really whittled him down.
All right. How far are we out here? 60 feet.
Oh, and actually, did I not put so you guys could see the bars? Let me do that. Does she have a bar above her head now?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Sorry.
All right. So,
Yeah. Let's just check
I don't
everybody.
really have a weapon, so I think my movement is 55, but that won't get me into melee range. All right, you know what? I'm going to move over here. Sort of behind cover, I guess. You know what? No, he's just going to go down here and help Tovi. So he can't get to the other one, so he's just going to rush in. And
Use a dash as your action then?
no, I used.
Or is that enough? Oh, okay, so that's just your move. So you still have action and bonus?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so he's going to attack.
Cool, lay it on him. So the hill giant is pulling its you can see the ground in the sod is being, as the club is being pulled up out of the ground. It looks like he's trying to hit or attempting to start to hit Tovi once again as you come rushing up.
All right. Fingers crossed.
2 unarmed attacks, 24 and 21 easily
Sweet.
hit this easy big gaping target.
Channels his inner Drizzt.
All right, so the first one would be a 9, looks like, and an 8. The +3 is the what? 1d4. What's that rolling?
It's the natural 20 on the advantage. I'm assuming you click on the first one
Oh,
twice.
okay, yeah. I bet that's what it is. So it should be the 2
Oh,
with
yes, I'm
17s. Yeah, so a 9 and an 8. 17.
Yeah, you're right. That's what that is.
Perfect. So smashing into. Now you can really feel that this thing's flesh is hardened and the bones are thick and it's a huge creature. But as you hit and punch, the area that you hit and punch ripples and it lets out a cry, knowing that you are damaging him. And he looks really bad. I mean, the blood is gushing out. He's limping. It looks like maybe one of his knees isn't working quite right. He's in a bad place at the moment, but he's still standing.
I think that was supposed to be a short sword. Oops. Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay.
So that was you get 2 attacks to do your attack. Do anything bonus wise?
I do. Since my first attack, one of them hit, I get a bonus unarmed.
Yep, 21. So you get a third type of unarmed strike. Is this a kick or a punch or a what?
So this would be handwork.
Okay. Yeah, so and then the last one again, when you punch into kind of the side of the leg, you can see the skin ripple, and you even think that maybe there was a bone crunch in there a little bit. He nearly topples over. He looks woozy from loss of blood. It looks like he's well within, just a moment of falling over, incapacitated, but he's holding on with just sheer will at this point. So he is still standing before you.
Trying to see if there's something else I can use here. He's so close.
Yeah, that should be it. That should be action bonus, movement, but you used all your movement to get there?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. You would have movement,
Um,
but I think
all right,
action and
then-
bonus would be good. Or done.
So he'll kind of, so I guess from the Giant's perspective, it'd be his left knee. So he kind of punches the outside of his left knee. He hears a bit of a crack, and then his momentum will carry him around behind. And that's Jarral's turn.
Okay. Let's see. So that brings us to Tovey. All right. She has seen that now he looks to be distracted by the several strikes that have hit him. He definitely looks like he's on his last legs. She lets loose with her greatsword, swinging it. Oh, yeah. This guy is less than half hit points, so she gets this one. So here's the first one from Tovey. Oh, misses. And it's probably that as you were maneuvering around the hill giant, he moved to follow you, and she came down with her greatsword and just missed him as he reacted. She back swings with a 27 hit. Nicely done. And delivers the fatal slash across the back of the neck of this hill giant, and as he crashes over and falls to the ground, bleeding out.
I loosened him up for you.
Yeah. She gives you a nod. She looks very professional. She looks determined, and she wheels her horse around, and then she begins to maneuver towards the other giant. Let's get off of this piece here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. And I think she's going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. That'll put her in space, and I believe her horse is I think a horse is a 50, right? Let's check that again.
I'm pretty sure it's 60.
Riding, yeah. I think riding horses. But I will check it just to be sure, so we're not cheating too much. Yeah, 60 feet, so no problem. She is trained to fight from horseback, has a skill. And as a bonus action, so that was her action, her move. As a bonus action, she will use a, you see her kind of summon up an inner strength. She's going to use second wind, basically, is what's happening. And she's going to regain hit points, which I believe will bring her back to her maximum. So I think it is, let's see, let's do 1, 4, oh yeah, so it needs to be -6. There we go. She's back actually to full. So she's able to summon her inner reserves and strengths and slough off the bruise and the contusion she got from the Great Club, and now is looking hale and whole as she charges down this next hill giant. And that will be her turn, which will bring us to Edram. Edram, the elk has damaged the hill giant, stood in front of it and held its attention. You've seen lightning crash down into that hill giant, but it is your turn.
I thought about hijacking the call lightning spell, but I'm going to do something else.
That's right. We had that discussion about our two nature casters being able to hijack that, and it boosts
so
the
I'm gonna move up
damage,
a
doesn't
little
it?
Yeah, it increases it by 1d10 or something.
Yeah, like something crazy. You guys could do some synergy there. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to move up a little bit and toss a javelin at that remaining giant.
All right, nice. Now, are you still on? Now, you're not on a horse, right? Because you had been your lion form and had switched. So you're on foot, correct? Okay, just to be sure. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at some of these shots. 25, obviously, critical hit, automatic hit. 8 plus 2. Ooh, you must have got some bad rolls there. Some bad rolls. Okay, so 8, 9, 10. We see a javelin sticking out of the left pectoral of this hill giant, and it reaches up and grabs your javelin and throws it to the ground as it pulls it out, and the blood gushes in the wound from the wound that has just been created. That's action, movement. What else you got? Anything else you want to do?
That'll be it for this turn.
Okay. Brings you to the giant elk, which will continue to attack unless you want to give it some other order.
Nope. One more ram attack.
Yeah, go ahead. So this is a regular fighting attack now. 10. So what we see is it kind of paws the ground and it tries to surge forward, and the hill giant reaches out and grabs the antlers to stop it enough, and then we see the giant elk shake its head, shake its loose, as the hill giant is able to stop the attack from damaging him this time, as he is wary of this giant elk in front of him. All right. Anything else for our giant elk friend?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Hill giant gets to go. He sees. He kind of yells out, "You killed Gogmalog! Ruxdor will kill you all and then eat you." And he's going to try to swing his great club at the giant elk that's in his way. So let's bring that up. Here comes a giant club attack. Ooh. Well, I guess a critical on a summoned creature is always way better than a critical on a player character. This is going to hurt Mr. Elk for 27 points of damage. Unfortunately, our elk only had 2 hit points at the time. That dissipates, and what we see is it's like crashing through branches, leaves, and brambles as it all just breaks apart, and the magic dissipates as the giant elk fades back into leaves and branches and twigs and such onto the ground. Our poor elk has dissipated, but served its purpose for sure. The hill giant rears up and says, and kind of holds his club above his head, and he's like, "I showed you!" And he sees Edram, and he moves towards you. 5, 10, 15, 20. He can move. Oh, yeah, he's got the movement. And he's going to try to... He basically runs and jumps, and he looks like he's going to try to body slam you with his belly like a big splash attack. They call it the squash attack. He is going to get hit by Tovi as he leaves her range, so she is going to get a free strike on him. So let's do that as he leaves. Here comes a great
fat
sword.
bastard.
Yeah. He's below half, so she gets this one. Tovi at a 14.
She has Bardic Inspiration.
She doesn't need it, actually. 14 is a hit.
Oh, you know what? I do too.
Yeah, 14 is a hit. Oh, yeah, you might have from the last game.
Yeah, that might be what that's from.
Yeah, that could be. So she hit with that. Let's do some damage.
Not that I've needed it.
She does 11 to him as he leaves, and he's fixated on this human in front of him. He's going to squash him and try to eat him. Here comes a squash attack on Edram. So if the giant lands... Ooh, 27, Edram. That's going to hurt. So the giant lands prone in the target's space. So he jumps up and he lands right on you.
Oh, man.
You are grappled at the moment, and you will take some damage from this. Ooh. 21 bludgeoning damage as you take a body slam splash as the hill giant pins you to the ground. On your turn, you'll be able to make an escape check to see if you can escape his clutches. But that is the turn of Ruxdor, who is angered that you've killed Gagmalog.
Escape the folds.
Brings us to Ardreth. You just saw Edram get pancaked squashed like it was a video game. You believe he's underneath the hill giant somewhere, but you can't quite see him. The other hill giant has fallen. What does our bard do?
Here's some muffling.
Yeah.
Let's
I got something in mind.
Oh, that's an action. I am going to use a spell that I have.
You gotta give us
I
your
think I'm
best
just gonna
Ardreth
pull-
voice. What's the
I think
Ardreth
I'm just
voice?
gonna. I think I'm just gonna
Could do one of his songs.
pull my call lightning probably over here.
Oh, you should totally be doing your Scanlan. What's the song that triggers the lightning to come down? Because you know he would have a lyric or something.
That's not Ardreth. That's the opposite of Ardreth.
I know. I wish Ardreth would do that.
Oopsie, I can't act like Ardreth and then be Scanlan. That's
Just so
Too
you
meta, man.
know, Ardreth would know that his lightning bolt would also hit Edram. It's any creature within 5 feet, I believe.
Oh,
but his creature is larger than 5 feet. Is that
Right.
just
Well, if you're going to hit
So,
him,
like-
that's still within 5 feet of him.
like I couldn't put it over here and only get the giant? Because it is within 5 feet.
Maybe. Yeah. The way it reads, let's read that. Yeah, I think you might be right. Let's read it just so we're sure. I think you're right. But let's, it was call lightning. Where are you at?
There you go.
Oh, okay, yeah, good. So,
That's an
choose a
interesting
point
question.
you can see. That's when you choose is when you cast. But what about... Oh, to that point. Each creature within 5 feet of that point. So yeah, you could pick any space of ground you wish. So you are correct. So go ahead and pick a space of ground. And then I
Alright.
will roll for anybody within 5 feet of that.
So I'm gonna hit this area right here.
Good to go. Yep. All right, so Mr. Hill Giant tries to... he's been squashed.
It's
He's got a terrible
dex.
roll. Yeah, 6. He misses it. They have terrible decks. And he's kind of laying on Edram anyway, so I don't think he'd be able to make the move out of the way. So, yeah,
Yeah, he'd be prone.
13 damage.
13 damage.
So another lightning bolt. This one not hitting him as hard as the other two that have hit this guy so far, mostly because it hit the ground next to him and it's more of the residual lightning shock that hit him this time around. But he has blackened marks on his back and his back of his legs. He's definitely, some of his wounds are bleeding from where the elk had gored him in the belly area. He looks like he's bleeding out, but he's still got a hold of Edram and is looking to try to maybe crush him or eat him next turn if he can. But that will bring actually anything else for our bard. So you called your lightning, which is that a bonus or is that an action?
That's an action.
So okay, so you used your action. You still have your bonus or movement at this point, or both.
I'm just gonna leave it there. That'll be my turn.
All right. Our storm calling bard is completed, bringing us to Jarral. You see, you have a better view. You can see that this hill giant has pinned Edram to the ground and is going to try to crush him using its giant, meaty hands, and its club is in the other hand, getting ready to kind of smash part of Edram if it can. You were up.
all right. So Jarl's gonna run over there, and I assume his head is kind of at where Ardreth is.
Pretty close.
Or is, yeah. So he's gonna grab at the legs. So he's down, right? So I gotta have advantage.
Actually, he's got Edram pinned at this point. So Edram is prone and struggling, and he's kind of looming over the top of him like he's about to try to hit him with his club. He is
Oh, I
bent
thought he-
over in a way.
Oh, okay. I thought he like did a belly flop kind of thing.
He did, but then he pinned Edrim to the ground as he was standing.
All right, so all right, I'm gonna attack his legs then.
Okay. Yeah, so you come up behind and is this unarmed attacks? What's happening? Short swords?
He's
What's
gonna
happening?
pull out his sword and,
Okay.
and attack with his sword.
All right. Swing away.
And
Is
It's
is the
distracting.
giant
easy to
not
hit.
prone?
No, it's not prone. He's not prone. Edrim's prone.
yeah, I thought the same thing.
Well, I mean, it says
Oh, snap.
lands prone
I'm
and the
gonna
target's
come back
missed.
to
I
home.
just assumed.
Phew.
Whew.
So,
Ouch.
what does this do?
Yeah, he still had movement left to be able to stand up. Or at least he's kind of crouched over. It's more. A 6 and a 7 is not a hit. I don't know if Bardic Inspiration, maybe with a good roll, you could get one of them to hit, but you'd have to choose which one you're going to use your Bardic Inspiration on. I'm guessing your second one. If you want to, or you just let it ride with a... Basically what you did is your sword hits, but you can tell that the skin is hardened and thickened on these giants, and you just were not able to cut into it.
Okay, so the Bardic Inspiration is what, a 1d10? Or is it
1d8.
1d8? And I can use that on saving throws and attack rolls, right?
I believe so.
And ability checks. Yep.
And a bit right, okay. So I'm not going to use it on that because that's not really going to help me at all. But I can use Flurry of Globes. So immediately after I take the attack action on my turn, I can spend 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action.
All right.
So I will do that.
Sounds reasonable.
Get rid of 1 key and 2 unarmed.
So, man, bad rolls here towards the end now. The 8 does not... You punch in, but you're not able to damage him. But the 23, as you swing around, you see the skin ripple, and you feel like you've broken a bone inside, probably somewhere around the knee area, for 8 points of damage. It hasn't taken him out, but it's definitely hit him.
Okay.
And he lets out a roar as you've damaged his knee a little bit.
And I am going to... So there's nothing I can... You know what? I'm going to move... Take a step this way so that hopefully I have his attention so he's looking at me instead of the other way.
Okay.
Alright, that's my move.
All right. Brings us up to Tovi, who wheels her horse around 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, just to get close enough. Plenty. And then unleashes Great Sword Strike after Great Sword Strike. So as she comes riding up, Great Sword swings out. And she, again, clangs off a hardened part of the back shoulder, doesn't sink in. She uses the momentum to swing a second time, knowing that she failed. This time she sinks it true for 9 slashing damage. Not enough to fell this giant, though. Puts another slash mark with blood and ooze kind of pouring out the back a little bit. He staggers a little bit. His grip begins to loosen on Edram. She twirls that sword around and tries to stab it straight into him for a final shot. Is able to strike true one more time. Nice. And fells our hill giant with a final thrust through the back of the rib cage into where the heart would be of this hill giant, and kills him before he can utter another sound. And his grip loosens on Edram, who's kind of still below, underneath the paw of this hill giant as it kind of flops down to the ground dead.
You're welcome.
All right. We are now out of turn order. Good job.
So, how pinned is is Edrim?
You're
not
able
pinned,
to
that's
push it. You're able to push him off now. He's not holding you down anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so Edrim's able to wiggle himself free and stand.
I keep thinking for some reason the giant was still prone over him, like a smothering kind of thing.
All right. So in the aftermath, as the forest area is quiet of the sounds of battle, though the lightning storm above still rages, what does the group do?
Well, Edram stands up, brushes himself off a little bit, nods to Tove and Jarral, who are kind of still in view, and I grab a couple of twigs from the former giant elk, and I kind of toss them over the dead hill giant.
Okay. Yeah, you see Tove kind of wheel around. She circles the bodies once on the horse, and then as she gives the area a good look, she dismounts, and it looks like she begins to clean her armor and weapons of the gore.
And I'll do one more action. In Sylvan, if anybody can understand it, I thank the spirit for assisting us today.
Sylvan is not the same as Elven, right?
No.
All right. So we are in a clearing to now decomposing bodies of hill giants upon the field, blood kind of pooling out on the forest floor. What would you guys like to do?
Jarl's gonna ask if anybody has room on their horse. Otherwise, we're gonna get slowed down a bit.
Yeah, Tove kind of gives you a look, and she says to you, though my horse could carry us both, I am more effective when I am not burdened or encumbered by something as a second rider. I believe I should stay fighting, stay as whole and as fighting as I can. As she kind of looks to the others to see if they're going to offer a ride to you.
Edram just shrugs.
Yeah, you could, I'm sure Ardreth wouldn't mind you riding with him.
Okay. So, so Jarls is gonna pause after she says, her thing about the better effective by herself, and just doesn't say anything. His gaze lingers a little bit, and then he heads over and accepts Ardreth's offer.
None of us were wounded, is that correct?
I was not.
I believe only
Aside
you,
from you.
Edram.
No.
Yeah, maybe just Edram. Tove had been, but she used second wind to heal herself up. She's back to full.
Do you need healing? Would you like healing? Is that a question?
No, he's not that bad off.
Okay.
So if we proceed as we were, I won't be able to. Actually, we probably. So, Ardreth, would you mind riding in the front so I could scout?
Sure. I mean, might as well. I mean, what's gonna happen? A whole bunch of hill giants are gonna pop out and try to attack us?
Hopefully not. So, so yeah, Jarrell's just going to suggest that we get on our way. What time of day is it? Was this a midday battle?
Yeah, it wasn't too early into the day. Although, the storming cloud above you has obscured the sunlight at this point. But it's still probably midday-ish at this point.
Okay. So yeah, he's just going to suggest that we continue on our way.
Okay.
And this is probably we'll call this the dead horse, I guess. Put that.
Edram will transform back into his lion shape and follow his routine of just kind of circling around the group.
Okay, so continuing to move on.
Yep, I think so.
All right. Let's move back to our campaign map. So you guys travel, you gather up, being led by your scout, who's heading south, which is Edram, your lion. And you go through the rest of the day without seeing anything. Actually, the forest seems pretty quiet. It seems like most of the creatures and such, and you're kind of in a hilly, grassy land area, and you go through trees every now and then it's out in the plains again, then go through some trees again. You wouldn't call it a forest, but you kind of go in and out of them as you go. And you get another... Go right to you'll get another... Oh, yep, so we'll get down to there. All right, so we'll move you down to here as night begins to fall, and you find a spot to make your camp and settle in for the evening. It looks like you've not quite reached the road that leads to Morbrins, but you're getting closer. So what would you, as far as setting up camp, just kind of the same thing you guys had been doing. You see Toby takes care of the animals at that point. I believe Ardreth was the one that started the fire and gathered some wood before Edram scouted, and then...
I'll see if I can bring in some game.
Yeah. Yep, so with a 10, that's going to be a no. So actually what ends up happening is you're pretty sure as you're smelling around, it's obvious that these hill giants have been in this area, and they were trying to catch or scared away anything that was within, several miles, and their scent of them that you pick up as a lion now, you can tell kind of permeates this whole area, and that's probably scared off the normal game that you would have been able to catch. So tonight you were not able to track anything down.
Okay.
So you would need to use one of your rations at this point. Jarral at camp. Remind me what you're doing at camp.
Just kind of scouting the area around, just to make sure that there's no surprises. And he's going to take the overnight watch.
Okay. Yeah, I think we had it written down. It started with... Did Edram... Tovey started, then Edram, then Jarral, then Ardreth was the last watch, I believe. So yeah, Tovey will... Once she's done cleaning the horses, she keeps her sword near her side, and she takes up watch as the group is able to begin a rest. She wakes up Edram. The night goes along without any happenstance. Edram's able to wake up Jarral, and then Jarl's able to wake up Ardreth towards the middle of the night. It's quiet. It's cold, as we're getting into the end of fall at this point, and snow could happen or bad weather could happen at any time. And then Ardreth has the last watch as the sun begins to rise and wakes up his companions. So everybody has now had a long rest. So you get all of your normal stuff back that you would get for your long rest. Half your hit dice had you used any. All of your spell slots and ability stuff. And your hit points should be back. And then you see Tovi get up in the morning, don her armor. She puts the saddles back on the horses, and then she mounts and waits for the group. Looks at them expectantly. What would the group like to do?
If she doesn't refuse, I would help her get all the horses ready.
Yeah, no, she does. She silently kind of just gives you a nod of acknowledging your help, and she continues to get them ready. She brushed them down, groomed them, they fed them, cinched all the riding harnesses and such to get them ready as the group prepares to set out.
So I can't remember if we had established if Jarral has, a good idea of this area. I mean, we kind of know the direction we need to go, but does he have any indication that the rivers meet?
Yeah.
Kind of here?
Yeah, I would say your map closely matches most of the stuff that's here.
Okay.
You may not know of the stuff. Maybe you've only heard of some of these things. You haven't necessarily been to them, but you got it from other fragments of maps. There was a map that you were able to copy back when you were at Zymorvan Hall to fill in some area around this Evermore's area. So you have a pretty good idea based on a map. It's not a perfect map, but it's definitely pretty good.
All right. So Jarral's going to suggest that we head kind of in this direction, not exactly toward the fork, but kind of in that sort of direction to see if maybe there's some sort of bridge that would cross the river, or at least we could follow it along to the west and see if there's any sort of bridge or crossing that we can find as we go.
Sure.
Cool. All right. So Edram, do you head out? You head out a little bit more southwest instead of straight south. So you go half the day, and actually probably be about a good portion of the day. You ride throughout the day. Again, it's quiet. You start to hear the noises of animals once again. They stay pretty far away from you. They can hear the horses' harnesses and stuff, but it's not quite as quiet as it was the day before. The sun is out. The sky is blue, but it is a cold, chilly day. And you're able to get to where the river is, and you spend about an hour looking up and down kind of the bank, and you find a place where you think the horses could ford across, and that would get you across the river to the road, and then you would get to the road right about as the sun goes down.
So I'm assuming that Jarral would know that the road is on the south side of the river.
Yes.
Okay, so the road's not going to do much good for the party. So he's going to suggest that we continue heading west. Actually, so based on what I said a couple of minutes ago, he's going to want us to suggest that we go across and find a crossing in the west.
Oh, this river.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, same thing would happen. You'd be able to get to right about. It would take you most of the day to ride down to this area, and then it takes you maybe an hour or two to find a fording spot that's safe enough. It's not bad in the wintry months. Like if it was the summer or the spring, there might be quite a bit more river water to deal with. But at this point, it's easy to find a crossing place, and then you're able to go ahead and make camp once again.
Okay.
Right.
Can we see the hills from here?
The Sibrin Hills, not quite yet. That's still several miles off. They're not mountains per se. Yeah, they're still about 25 miles off. So these are not things that stand out on the horizon at this point.
So there's nothing to indicate that it's going to be like difficult terrain kind of thing. It's more just like hills.
Yeah, more like Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So I guess we set camp.
Yeah, another camp goes by. Same kind of routine. Everybody seems to have fallen into kind of their normal mode. The evening goes without anything approaching the camp. It is at this point the type of coolness that you do require to have a fire burning, but nothing has approached the camp or has accosted you guys throughout the night. And then once again, Ardreth is able to wake the group up and prepare for the day's travel. Basically, we just need to know which way you're going to go.
So do we want to follow the river, or do we want to start going across the hills? Asks Jarral.
I am not familiar enough with this area to know which would be best.
Nor I. I don't think any of us really are.
Yeah,
worry-
Toby gives you a head shake and says, yeah, it's many years since I've been south, and when I've come south, it was along the Evermore way. I've never really came down past this part of the Evermores.
My worry is that we fared okay against the hill giants, but their numbers could be greater if we go into the hills.
When we are closer, I might be able to come up with more information on the area.
Okay, that sounds better than the option of going far out of our way. And Jarl's gonna look at Ardreth and Toby. See if they have any thoughts.
She nods. Is ready to ride.
I'm sure you guys know the best path to the location that I totally know we're going to. And we will get
We
there
don't.
without issue.
We don't.
We're trying to go to Tribor, right? To the Star Metal Hills, something like that?
You're going to over this little purple dot over here, Star Metal Hills. There's
Yeah, I
a
think we're
hidden
heading
village.
along battle.
Over here. Oh.
Yeah.
And we're coming from Zymorvan Hall? Did we just go through the Evermores?
Yeah, we're
Well, you went around them. Going through the Evermores would have been a treacherous and dangerous journey that would have slowed you down. So you've kind of skirted the outsides of it.
Oh, and we didn't go to the long road. Okay. All right. Sure. Cool. Makes sense.
Really, the choice is, it comes down to, are you going to go to the bottom of the Subrin Hills and come back up north, or are you going to cross the Subrin Hills? That's really the choice here.
Did we hear anything bad about this when we were in Yartar? Because we
Only
did
that
come through here.
Shining White and Griffin's Nest are barbarian tribes.
Yeah, you have heard that.
But have we heard about the state of this? Because I know we heard when we were in Olison's Hold about how the Evermores were becoming more and more active. When we were in Yartar, or even Tribor, did we hear anything about the Desrin Valley between the Subrin Hills?
No, it was mostly about, you were hearing a lot of stuff on the Evermore Way and about stuff coming out of the Evermores and raiding the villages and farmsteads and ranches. But it was mostly about this southern section where there's a lot of trade going on, like this section down here. You were hearing a lot of rumor stuff all the way back up to, over to Silvery Moon and all that area. You weren't really catching too much, or you don't recall that you were hearing things about north of. But really, everywhere you've been around the Evermores, like when you were at Zymorvan Hall, they were saying that the Evermores were more active. When you were at Rivermoot, they were saying the Evermores have been more active. It's really, this whole place, there's been excursions and raiding parties coming in and out of it quite often.
And as a side note, isn't I mean, I'm just saying that in this area, isn't this where Urgula told us about that the Tomb of Zaxxas? I mean, while we're going through here, I mean, it would just be a real quick thing. This is my Ardreth. I'm sure this was Ardreth would say if he remembered that this was a thing that existed.
Yeah, as far as you could tell, let me draw a little bit on the map here.
Was that
there was you had
Yeah,
heard
we were
some
tracking it.
rumors about stuff that may be along this area, but it was vague and you had not done the search or found any more information about it. But there was a tomb of some sort hidden here that rumors had been circulating about. You don't know anywhere exact. That you knew it was at the top of this river portion, which I don't remember if it was even given a name, because this one is
I
the
do.
Subran, but
Because I have great notes, and I wrote. This is one of
bet.
the only things I wrote down.
I bet.
It's over in chat. Urgula gave us her educated guess of where she believes, with all her collected information, that the tomb is north of the Desram Valley by the Subran River, off a chute out of the hills, somewhere near the hills off the river. And that's old information. Ian has a page provided with all the clues. I don't. I just haven't updated the paper. I would have. That's one of the things I would have given to the group going south, so we were going up north.
Yeah. It was something too that had been discussed about. It was possibility that once they had went to the Star Meadow Hills and checked in, it was a spot that they could definitely check on the way back, or make a decision should they go there next, or should they do the other thing that you guys were talking about was something happening in Xanathar's Keep, if you remember. So you had a couple of things that could happen along this road, but the idea was the group had agreed, not that you have to stick to this, but the group had agreed that they were going to go to the Star Meadow Hills, talk to this dwarf that Harshnag had sent them to, see if they could find this artifact that would help, and then make a decision there. Depending on where you guys were, you were going to use the devices to talk to each other to make the next move decision. To see, okay, do we want to come north? Do you guys come in south? Do we need to go check something else out? It was like this whole idea of, you could decide what to do next as you two went and completed these two things. But it's up to you guys.
So we've been traveling for what, 4 days? 5 days?
No, you're just under halfway. This was going to be about a 14-day journey. So you're probably 5 to 6 days in at this point.
Okay, so since we have you here, so I haven't really planned anything out, but so just for story's sake, so Jarral will use during the evening when we're camping, on his watch, he is going to try and use the sending stone to communicate with Ian, just to kind of sync up to see how things are going, where they're at, so we have a better idea of timing. Because just so you know, we're trying to keep to the timeline and just make sure that we're all gonna kind of be arriving and doing things at the same time, so that when it is time to meet up, we're all kind of meeting up at the same point.
Mm-hmm.
So Charles is gonna let Ian know kind of where we are at and how much further we have to go to Star Meadow Hills, just to kind of see if we need to pick up the pace or if we're fine.
Yeah, and
7 words or less.
And Ian, you would be
Oh, there's
deep.
a limit?
I can't remember.
No, I don't. No, there's no limit.
Okay.
You guys are kind of at about 6 days in. We'll say this night, you guys would have been camping deep into the Lurkwood, and it would have been probably just after you had rescued the gnome.
Oh man, we're like, what is
Yeah.
this, like 20
Yeah, for some
days?
reason, the Thursday group kept missing a bunch of sessions, so that we're gonna try to get him caught up.
We're like a month ahead of them, aren't we? Like, that was like a 30-day trip from Zymorvan all the way to the...
It was a lot of
Jesus
days.
Christ. I would say we're in the middle of Lurkwood. We still have several weeks before we get to the Eye of the Allfather.
Yeah, your guess would still be probably 7 to 8 days to get to the Valley of Keldrin, but you still don't know how long it'll take you to search when you get to the valley to find the actual place. So you're still pretty vague exactly how long it's going to take you to get there at this point, but you do know it's probably another 7 days to the Valley of Keldrin.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say about 2 weeks, so 20 days at the least until we even find the Allfather. Who knows on the way back? God, the return trip? Let's not even think about it right now.
So we're doing pretty good on timing then. So
Way
if
better than us.
I would think that if we do, so that's what Jarral is going to communicate to the party, is that we are good on timing. So if Ardreth was to bring that up, that would kind of be the indication. So it's not like we're pressed for time.
And we're going through there anyways. It's gonna, I mean, why endanger ourselves twice when we can just do it once? This is my Ardreth. This is
And
me
this
trying to be
is-
sly.
This is where you're saying that we need to go? Where the blue squiggle is?
That is not my blue squiggle. I think that's Lucian's squiggle.
Yeah.
No, what was that indicating?
Just a general area that Urgula would have mentioned. I mean, she just said it was at the north side of the river, but you have some clues, but you wouldn't know, and you don't know how long it'll take you to find what's there.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's on the way.
So, in response to what Ardreth would say, Jarral will say, or we could just do it once and just ignore it.
And you're saying, I thought you were an archaeologist. Jarral, I thought this was your thing. I mean, who knows what's down in the tomb of an old, strong person back in the day. I mean, so be it. I don't mind. I mean, it'd be nice to write it in the books and say, you know, a group of adventurers, a Jarral, an Edram, a Druid, a Jarral the monk, and Ardreth the bard just went by and found a great piece of forgotten loot. But, you know, that's fine if we just want to head towards the Star Meadow Hills.
And Jarral has that look of conflict on his face, and he says, "Believe me, the draw is strong. However, we are on a mission that it's not just us. There is another group that are depending on us." And kind of, you can see he's kind of trying to make a decision in his head, and you can see that he's kind of losing that battle. And
As Ardreth's final cell,
he's going to
he's
well,
go ahead.
when I say he's losing the battle, you can see he's kind of leaning towards Ardreth. So he's going to suggest that we follow the river,
He gives in,
and
trying to talk himself out of it.
he's trying to talk himself out of it. But he's also saying, you know, if it does come up, it's going to come up.
I'm
So
saying,
he's going
but
to suggest that we follow the river, and that way he's justifying it by saying that we can avoid the giants.
At his final cell, he was just gonna say, I mean, you said they still have several weeks. The Star Meadow Hills are just, what, a week away at most? I'm just saying, if they have 2 weeks, we can spend the week. I doubt it'll take us that long to talk to some dwarves.
Charles just
That's
gonna
his final
grunt.
cell.
He's gonna grunt, and he's gonna ask if he's going. So when he's giving the option and saying, should we go across the mountains or go down the river, he's gonna, make the river sound like that's where he wants to go.
And that's it. That's all he's gonna say.
Yeah. Toby kind of. It's like a ping pong. She watches a ping pong match as she watches each of you, nods, waits for a decision to be made, looks to Edram, who doesn't seem to be adding anything yet, looks to each of you, waiting.
In fact, Edram got up and walked away right after that conversation started.
All right, so Charles is he's gonna look around for Edram, not see him, and shrug and say, "Okay, I guess we follow the river."
All right.
So what do you guys want to mark down a course?
So I'm thinking I'll just draw it. I think we probably should kind of go.
Yeah, you'll get 21-ish miles, so you're going to end here that first night. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to skip through a few days because there's you guys are able to... Edram sees a few things that you guys... well, let's do this. Yeah, so you guys are traveling the next day. The next day goes uneventful. So you travel another 21 miles. You get down to this area. You're kind of you're not near... You're getting closer to Mornbrand's Shield. But you're not seeing people or anything on this side of the river. And you're still pretty far out. You probably can't... You might be able to hear the river at this point, but even something that's 4 miles away, you're not in sight of the river at this point. We have another day where it goes by and you camp. Evening goes by. Started to rain about midway through, but then is typically uneventful, and you guys are able to travel, continue traveling. So you make another day's travel, and now you can definitely see these hills. And although you've been in hilly area, it's mostly been grassy hills with some trees, but these seem to be more barren type hills, and they definitely seem to be bigger than the other ones. They're not mountains by any stretch of the imagination, but they're much bigger, much more rolling, a little bit more harder of a ground. If you have to traverse this, you're probably not going to make, the 21 miles that you're making through these grassy hills. You would probably slow down a little bit at least. But you continue on. On the third day of travel... Oh, go ahead.
Does Jarral get the sense that we made the right decision as far as time goes?
Well, you're about 2 days in and you're heading south.
Well, I mean, as far as like how difficult it would be to go through the mountains or the hills.
Well, without really tracking into them, it looks like it would be harder going. But
right, okay.
it wouldn't even be half. It would probably be like 3/4 speed almost. So if you're making 21 miles a day, maybe it drops you down to somewhere around 16 or 17 miles a day running through the hills, but then you'd have picked them back up. So you're adding more time going south, but it's not a big chunk of time.
Right.
You're adding a couple of days time probably.
And less encounters.
Thus far, yeah, thus far. And you haven't really seen too much. On the third day of travel, since the crossing of the river, we'll get about halfway. And Edram, you're out front. And you notice quite a bit of movement up in the hill area. And as in your lion form, you're kind of slinking along. And you kind of come to just like a cat is able to stop and stay stock still and almost disappears into the background. And you see movement probably about a mile and a half away. And you think it's probably a group of humanoids, maybe 40 or 50 strong. They look like they're moving north. They definitely it didn't look like they saw you. Doesn't look like they're coming close to you, but they're heading north into the hills, it looks like. And they're too far away to get details, but it's a large group of humans.
Can you mark on the map about where they are?
Probably due west of you.
Okay.
So you're trying to stay kind of out of the hills. They're in the hills a little bit, about a mile into them. The reason you saw them is they were coming up over a crest of a hill, and it looks like they'll eventually go right back down and they'll go out of sight again. They didn't see you. You're kind of crouched, just stock still like a cat.
I will.
And your
right
party's
there.
probably a little bit back from you. You on horses riding south towards you.
I'll sit there for about a minute or so and just
Okay.
to see if they've all disappeared.
Yeah, you see the shapes go over the hill. It looks like they hadn't seen you, and then you start to pick up the noises of the horse harnesses as Tove, and you see kind of Tove comes into view as you look over your shoulder, and behind her is Ardreth and Jarral on the second horse. And they probably don't even see you right away. You're kind of crouched and stock still as you see them a couple hundred yards back.
When they've approached to within 10 feet or so, I'll change back into human form, and I will say, a large group of humans disappeared north, due west of us, 40 or 50.
Did they look hostile?
Did I get that good a view from a mile and a half away?
Not really. You saw the backs of them. They didn't see you, so you couldn't tell any attitude. It didn't look like they were fighting amongst each other. It looked like they were all traveling together. That's about as much as you got. You weren't close enough to get much detail at all.
Could you tell if they were armored?
You don't remember armor per se. Like it wasn't like a
Nothing
unit
shiny.
of military people or anything like that. They weren't on horses. Just people, walking.
Best guess is barbarians.
Well, that's not good. We should remain vigilant, but I guess we just continue on our way. I mean, I'm kind of. I mean, is there kind of where we're at? There's really no. I would not imagine there's any advantage to fanning out a bit to kind of get a better look, either to the east or the west or whatever. Since it's hills, it's I would imagine that it's easy for them to disappear behind a hill from where we are at. Would that be accurate?
There are definitely lots of hills to the west of you.
Right.
You guys are getting very close to the river, which doesn't provide you cover, which means anybody will be able to see you guys from the east pretty easily. For a bit until you get a little bit further south and you get a little bit further away from the river again. But again, it's the Evermoors over there. It's not like you can see the road. You could see the river at this point, and you'll be able to see the river for a while, but you wouldn't see the road or anything. 5 miles away, you wouldn't pick that up. You get the smell of the Evermoors still wafting in. Lots of hills to the west. So yeah, there's a lot of up and down and a lot of, hilly country that way.
I am going to, while we're kind of thinking about this, I'm going to walk a little bit away from the group towards the hills. And do I see any birds flying, like, flying south late in the season or anything like that?
Yeah, you could probably wait, maybe not necessarily immediately, but if you wait a few minutes or so, you would see a bird fly by or a group of birds fly over at some point if you were to wait.
I'm going to try to call one down and speak to it and see if I can get some information on what it saw flying south.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So let's have that happen, and you're looking. You've cast you're waiting to see some birds come by. You're getting ready to cast your spell. Our group is on their horses and waiting for Edram to return. You just saw him walk off. At that point, is there anything the group wants to do as he walks off? You still got about a half a day of travel, unless you're going to make camp now.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest. I'm going to ask the rest of the group if they would be open to riding through the night.
Tovi would nod and say to you, if you think it's necessary, I am capable and able.
Is Tove a half elf or elf or someone who can see at night?
She is human.
That could be a problem with a bunch of
And the
humanoids,
horses-
probably barbarians ahead.
And the horses don't have night vision either, so you got to be a little careful with your horse. You would probably need to lead your horses versus trying to ride them. I mean, you could. If you had torches out, you could ride them. If you're going to lead them using night vision or something, you'd probably be leading them. You would go slower, but you still could continue.
My only so if the group is human, they will not be able to travel at night. Whereas I can lead us on the way.
That is quite a hefty assumption. There are many kinds of human-looking things in the area, including things that could pretend to be human, that can see perfectly at night, and we could be walking straight into an ambush at night.
This is true. I think Edram. I am assuming that Edram. Well, maybe we should check with him to see how confident he is that they were actually human.
All
50 of them.
All right, so we'll leave our scene there for a moment. We'll take our break for the evening. We'll just take one tonight. We'll go ahead and do 5 minutes, and we'll get our drinks and take a refreshment, and then we'll be right back, and we'll finish out and see what our group decides to do. If they decide to continue to travel south, how long they decide to travel, and we'll see what happens. So stay tuned, and we will be right back. All right, we join back with our group, and we jump back from break to get ready to go. So our camera pans down as Edram has went away from the group a little bit, looking for some animal friends that he could communicate with. And yeah, you probably see you probably see maybe like two, or we'll say like geese flying low south, heading overhead, that you might be able to get the attention as they kind of go flying by as you kind of spot them in the sky.
Okay. I will approximate a Goose Call, see if I can bring them down.
Yeah. It's funny that your speak with animals. They are able to understand you, and you.
I want to hear this Goose Call.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're talking to the wrong guy.
RP that out. Yeah, so it's like goose honks for sure. And they wheel around, and they say, well, what do you say? I mean, because they understand what you say, even if they don't talk back in a language, they'll be able to give you some general ideas. But they do recognize what you're saying. So what do you say to them?
I ask them what they've seen in, say, the last 20 minutes or so flying south over those hills.
Well, I guess more what I'm asking is, what do you say to encourage them to come talk to you? Because at this point, they kind of look when you make a noise, but it looks like they're flying like.
I will dig in my pack and offer them some seeds.
Okay, let's do a persuasion check. Let's give you a roll
Are they
on
good
this.
seeds or are they bad seeds?
They won't know till they eat them.
Persuasion, animal handling, nature.
This you're trying to persuade them to come in and stop their flight south. Basically, take the moment to come and speak to you and trust you. 13's good. Yeah. So you've offered them food. They get a okay vibe from your tone. They don't believe you're trying to deceive them, or they could be in any harm. So they kind of wheel around, and then they land down in front of you, and they're maybe about maybe 5-10 feet away. They are still wary. I mean, they don't trust you fully. They're keeping their distance. But they seem anxious. Like if you're willing to give them some seeds or some food, it would mean they wouldn't have to stop and find it on their own. They could continue on. So they're kind of like wary, looking at you and waiting for the seeds you have promised.
I grab a small handful of seeds and I kind of just scatter them out in the ground in between us. And, I'll rip off like a handful of bread, kind of rip that up and toss that up too.
Yeah. So you see them move forward, and they're eating hungrily at the pickings that you're given, which is good, as that's winter has made finding food a little more scarce. So you see them eating in front of you.
And then I'll take a seat, and as they kind of walk their way towards me, I'll actually hold some stuff out in my hand for one of them to approach.
Yeah, you see one of them is definitely very wary and doesn't want to seem to get within probably 2 arms length of you, but the other one seems a little more brave and seems a little more trusting, and does kind of come up to you and eat the food that you're offering.
I'll give them maybe a minute or so to get a little bit more comfortable with me, and then I'll ask them if they can tell me what they've seen on their trip south.
Yeah, so you basically get they don't have as many words in the language, so it's more of a very rudimentary, but what you're getting from them is they start talking to you about how the air current has been a little harder, that the storm, or that there are clouds and incoming storms from the east that they've seen, and they're trying to move further south before they come. You get the impression that they saw a hawk many hours ago, but it did not chase. Is kind of the what they kind of relay to you in sort of words.
Okay. I will throw out a little bit more, another small handful of seeds, and I will in Sylvan, because I don't know if they would get the intent anyway, but in Sylvan I will wish them a fair journey.
Okay. I mean, you get the impression that, I mean, if you were to maybe directly ask certain things, maybe, because I think this is something Edram would know, is that they typically would probably, if just asked an open question, would only think about things that affected them. But if you're trying to get them to talk about something that would not affect them at all, you might have to lead them on a little bit, give them a little bit more idea of what you're asking. I think he would know that.
But I was just going to make the assumption that
because in the idea, like, humans walking below them would have no
Yes.
bearing on them at all, so they wouldn't
And
even
so
comment on it.
Yeah, well, they might not even have noticed.
Yeah, and maybe not. That is true. But I think if you were to say something like, ground walkers, or, did you see any of these, or did any of them try to shoot arrows at you or anything, they might know of stuff like that kind of thing, and that might trigger, maybe not in this instance, but in any instance where you're talking to an animal, if you say something that might trigger, oh, maybe I did see a two-legger walking around, or maybe I did see, this or that.
I will ask about just generally ground creatures that they've seen this morning.
Yeah, and they actually do. They recognize that. I mean, they could see it as they were flying in just above you. They don't have necessarily miles. They kind of impart the idea that it's. They say something to you that you're maybe not even sure is like 3 wings to the west. A group of ewes. if you're missing them or looking for them, it's kind of hard to get what they're trying to say to you, but it's honks and body gesture, and they're using terms that are like, like 3 wings, and they indicate they're people like you.
Okay. No other details?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do get a good direction. It seems like they are due west of you for sure. Like, their direction sense is super accurate, and they're able to. It's like if you walk straight west, you'd run right into them. Is kind of the impression you get from them, and you get the impression like they think you are trying to find them or looking for them, or you've got separated and you're trying to get back to your flock.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions.
Okay,
So-
yeah. They finish eating up the scraps, and then they take wing and they continue to fly south. And like the last kind of call and honk to them is, basically, take cover, storm coming.
Okay. And I will walk back to the rest of the group.
Okay.
Do they speak in metaphor?
Yeah. So you guys see Edram walk up.
I asked a few of the birds flying overhead, and they could not provide any more information about those humans than we already had. But they did say that there's a fierce storm on the way.
Where where would that storm be coming from? I guess it's kind of like our weather patterns, so coming from the northwest.
No, this one's coming from the east. It's east heading west.
Would that be weird?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Um Okay. So I guess we don't know anything more than we did, so I guess we just continue to move south.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
my suggestion.
All right. Yeah, you see Tovi mount back up, and you guys get another half day's travel. Would bring you probably down to there.
So we were talking about moving. We were talking about traveling through the night.
Yeah, so the sun starts to
And-
go down, and you guys can. You see Tovi kind of look over her shoulder towards you. Of, we looking for camp, or am I continuing on? As the you guys are kind of riding as the last rays of the sun start to set.
So how far are we?
Like you wouldn't be able to travel the
Yeah.
21 miles, but you definitely could get another 14 or 15, assuming nothing happens. You could assume that if you went through the night without sleeping, you could get another 14 or 15 miles.
So why don't we continue traveling until midnight or thereabouts? See how far we get. I'm a little apprehensive about making camp in this area.
Tove kind of looks questioningly at Ardreth and gives you the I'm okay either way look. Edram and
Sure.
looks to Edram.
I can nod.
All right, so she continues riding south.
Does anybody have night vision other than me?
Yeah.
No. And I am walking now.
Okay. So Ardreth does. So
Yeah, if there's going to be no light, you see Tovi is going to dismount unless there's going to be some type of light.
all right, so I'm going to Tovi, two of us can see in the dark. I think it would be prudent to have one in the rear up front. Would you mind if so he sees her dismount? And would you mind if I take your horse in the lead?
No, yeah, she kind of hands the reins to you, and she's just going to keep her hand on the saddle and walk along as you lead them around ditches and potholes and such, and around logs or whatever you guys come across.
Okay, so
And the horse is well trained, so it follows where you lead. And then the riding horse is very good about following the war horse. Is very good about just wherever it goes, it feels safe enough to follow along.
okay, so I think in little every so often, Drell's gonna kind of run ahead a little bit and then come back and just report, just to kind of make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on. Kind of continuing on the same path, but just kind of scouting ahead a little bit so that we're not surprised by anything.
Okay. And you're gonna travel till midnight.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you guys will get, I would say, another 10 miles. So I'm going to put you right about there. So midnight comes around. Oh, not what I wanted to do. I wanted this to move to there. So you get another 10 miles, and it's now midnight. And you haven't seen anything, haven't heard anything. It's been pretty quiet and pretty uneventful thus far.
Okay. So, Ardreth, we probably should take the 2 watches.
Sure.
Alright, so while one's trancing, the other's watching.
All right, yeah. So you guys find a little copse of trees again. You're not in the hills. You're still out to the east of it. Tovey still takes the time to take the saddles off and grooms the horses and takes extra care as they they traveled a little bit longer during the day. Rests them up, feeds them up, and then definitely goes ahead and jumps in in her bedroll once all that's done. None of us.
I did have a couple decent rolls on survival rolls for the last couple days.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was able to save us some rations, I think.
Yeah. I would say, definitely second and third day ish. You were able to bring enough back to feed each of the group for sure. 18s and 19s are definitely good. So you were able to bring on the one day you were able to bring back a deer, and that was able to be cooked up and turned into some rations, or even just cooked and the rest maybe left out for other animals or such, depending on what you want to do. And then, maybe you're able to get a brace of rabbits on the other day. Though I have no idea if the elves eat meat. Guess that's a personal choice, maybe.
Oh, if we eat?
If you eat meat, are you guys vegetarians? You elven vegetarians?
Wow, that's a good question. No, I think Jarral will partake in the protein.
All right.
You can protein as a vegetarian also.
It's not as easily to come by, though.
All right. So you guys, uneventful evening. You're able to wake up in the morning. The horses kind of stamp their feet in a little indignantly. They felt like they probably wanted more rest, but they get saddled up and you guys are ready to go as the sun peeks out. One of the things you notice is, although the sun is about to come out, it's staying kind of dark, and looming on the eastern horizon is definitely some storm clouds.
Ooh.
I am going to use Druid Craft to figure out when the storm is going to hit where we are.
Yeah, you think it'll hit you guys about midday.
Okay. And how severe is it? Are we going to want to have cover at midday?
It's a storm. It won't be pleasant to continue to travel in it. It won't necessarily be deadly. It's not like a end of the world Ragnarok kind of storm or anything like that. It will definitely be unpleasant to be traveling during it, but you don't think it would be dangerous if you necessarily had to for some reason.
Okay.
Did we get
Is
the
it gonna-
sense from looking at the hills if there would be any cave situation? Or are these
From
like,
what you've
rolling?
seen thus far, you've not seen caves. It may be possible deeper in, but nothing you've seen on the outskirts here has indicated caverns or caves or structures or anything like that.
Hmm.
And on this side of the river, you haven't even seen homesteads, ranches, farms. You haven't seen any of that stuff on this
No.
side of the river.
How long is the weather gonna last?
Can I tell?
Will be at your location. Harmless sensory effect that predicts where the weather will be at your location. The effect might... You're not sure how long it's going to persist.
For the
You
next
just
24 hours?
Yeah, you just kind of know when it's going to come, but you're not quite sure how big of a storm it is. You just know it's coming.
Okay. The storm that we see on the horizon will catch up to us around midday. And while it does not look like it will prevent travel, I don't know how long it'll
Yeah,
last.
and at the moment, you're fairly certain it's going to be a mix of rain and sleet.
Okay.
At this point, you're pretty sure it's cold enough that some of it's going to be a little icy, little sleety.
Where we're at is how the hill. I'm assuming the hills don't look as big as they did further north.
No, it's still all kind of similar. When you're looking to the to the west, it's at this point it still seems like the it looks very similar to the way you've been traveling for the last couple of days. It doesn't seem to have changed quite yet.
Okay. So we have no shelter out here. And I believe we are coming close to the southern point of the hills. Perhaps this would be a good time to just head into the hills and see if we have any possibility of shelter. We have no idea how long the storm is going to last, but if it's as bad as Edram says, then we do not want to be out in the open for this. I think we should seek some shelter in the hills.
If we push for the next 4 hours until I don't know what time we're waking up, between when we wake up and when we go, how long would it take us to get around the little southern part of the hills? Because it's coming in from
normal
the east,
pace, right? You're going to hit the very bottom at midday, and then you're going to start moving around towards midday. You're going to start moving back around if you skirt the bottom of it. So right about the time you hit the bottom of the hills and you start to move northward is probably about the time you think the weather will catch up to you.
Pushing? Like going double time?
No, if you push, you're going to get more than that. So you would be on the other side of this hill area, moving in the general northwest direction when the storm would catch up.
So, as Ardreth is looking at the map that I'm assuming Jarral has taken out as he's telling us where we should, or what our options
estimates. Yeah, it's like, give or take an hour or two here or there.
It'd be better just to crest the hill. Get the same amount of travel in less time.
Yeah, I don't think we'll find shelter to the south, but if we go into the hills, we may find it sooner than midday. We may not, but I think we have a better chance if we go in now than wait.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So you guys start heading in. Edram begins to lead straight west.
Yes. And I'm going to keep my eyes open for a likely spot to wait out the storm.
Okay. And you're in lion form? Okay.
And I'm going to look at the hills and just make sure that we're not, kind of surprised.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm more looking to the north for that band of people that Edrim saw earlier.
All right. Let's bring out. Let's see. So lion form.
Start calling you Lionel.
All right. There we go. So you guys. Let's set this up for Edram here.
I don't like this.
This is Edram. Where's Edram? There he is. Edram shape change. All right. So you've kind of moved into the hills, and you're kind of winding around. Edram, you're probably a little bit further out, but go ahead and move like at about. Go ahead and move as where you would be from the group at this point. Kind of show me how you traverse a little bit for.
So this is fairly rocky, and it's easy. There's not much.
I mean, for you, it's
visibility.
probably not a big deal. For the horses, it's probably a bigger deal. All right. So just go through. All right, so you're kind of scrabbling down this embankment, and you get to this lower piece here. And you can see behind you, I think Tove would be in front, and you two would be on horses at some point, more like this, maybe side by side or whatever. You're probably in the same square at this point. When you hear a noise and you see a fur-clad warrior human kind of in front of you come out from behind a tree and a bush that's up on this crag, kind of the way you were heading. And you see them draw a bow. They have a bow in hand, and they have an arrow, but instead of shooting an arrow at you, you see them shoot an arrow up into the sky. And you hear like a whistle as it goes whistling up into the air.
Just one?
Yeah.
Do I smell any others?
The wind is coming from the east and moving west. You're picking up like your friends behind you, but you're not picking stuff up from the west of you.
Okay.
No bueno.
I am going to do the full lion roar.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And let's see, how far away is this? How dense are these trees?
I mean, they're the tops of them are dense, but it goes down into a tree trunk.
So at ground level, there's not much cover.
Now you would get a little bit depending if you try to keep yourself between the tree trunk and them. So maybe like a partial cover, like a quarter cover, maybe. Just like this one is trying to stay near a tree, has maybe partial cover, doesn't have full cover or anything, but has partial cover from you at the moment. The trying to get up this space here, you don't think you could just climb this up without, really trying to climb it like
I'm heading
some type
to
of
this
check. Yeah, okay. Okay, so as you move, just so you know, as you move to here is when you do pick up the scent, and let me go to this right layer. You can see these people. And you see the one that shot the bow, it seems to be looking at them and directing them towards the people on the horses. Like, you just see him gesture.
Okay.
And then, you can continue your... Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And how high is this embankment right next to me?
At that point, that one's not too bad. You probably could still... We won't over-strategize it or anything. I think you would have the ability to kind of rush up and attack from there if you wanted to.
Okay. Would you call that close enough that I could use pounce? Close enough to the line I was moving anyway?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I will try to pounce on this guy.
Awesome. All right, let's get...
Do we have any sense of what's going on over there?
You've heard the roar, and you see Edram head off. You've heard this arrow fly into the air and whistle. And now you're probably are now seeing the movement in the bushes area, in the bush area.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, 7 would not hit. I was making a character for you that had a shape change that has the lion. So if you look at the character sheet that says Edram dash shape change, you should be able to do your attacks and stuff from that.
Okay.
I think, if I set it up right. All right, so you try to pounce. This one kind of dodges out of the way a little bit. You didn't get it was hard because of the incline. You gave it a shot, but it didn't quite work. And then at that point,
did I get up the embankment, or am I still on the?
No, yeah. If you want to end there, that's fine. Did you have movement to end there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can end there. And then with that, we'll actually have everybody roll initiative now. And then I'll get the correct character sheets out here.
Oh! I wasted it.
Make sure you select your token so it goes into the... Yeah. All right. These are normal. Select a token. So we have that. Okay. Oh, and I need Tobe. I also need you. Actually, now that'll go on the same turn, but okay. Got that one, got that one. Tove, where you at? Alright, there you are. Select you, turn, and normal initiative. Perfect. Alright, so we got just about everybody in there. Think. Oh.
13.15.
Yeah, it's a new thing. I'll tell you later. I'll explain it to you later. It's a whole thing.
How they do the tiebreakers?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we start off with looks like Jarral's going to start off our round. You've heard the roar of the lion. You can see movement in the bushes. There appear to be Uthgardt barbarians, obviously in the same kinds of furs and hide armors and bows and primitive kind of weapons. But they're up on these ridges. They're using a little bit of cover, but they're also trying to, looks like they're trying to ambush you guys. And you've seen Edram kind of charge off and try to pounce on one. So you are up.
All right. And these are Uthgardt, you said?
They appear to be very similar. Maybe not necessarily the exact same type. They look definitely... You don't think they're Elk tribe, which you guys have met before. They're definitely some other tribe. You're not sure if you've met them before, but they look like a barbarian tribal group.
Um. Okay. So I guess I'm going to dismount.
Yeah, and 2 of you on a horse would be a terrible idea, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be my action.
Okay. You still would have full movement or bonus action.
And I think I am going to. Would I be able to crawl up this this hill here?
Any of those elevation changes, I'm going to have you roll athletics. If you roll okay, no change. If you roll a bad number, it's going to be Actually, no, let's just do difficult terrain. So any one of the ones that has a ridge would equal 10 feet instead of 5 feet. Let's just do it that way. Then we don't have to do rolls.
Okay. So with 55 movement, I could make it to kind of under. Wait. I could make it to cover kind of right here. It's 40 feet, straight line to there.
Well, I mean, depending on which way you go, you probably not, because if you
So I can't just kind of hop down these ones?
No, they still are considered difficult terrain.
Oh, all right.
They use up more of your movement to
This one
maneuver. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just do all of them so that way it's easy and not
All right.
crazy.
So in that case, I would be under cover if I was kind of right here, right?
You would get some, anybody that's within these trees is a partial cover.
So if I'm like behind the trees down here, I would be full cover?
Partial.
Partial.
Yeah, partial cover. If you threw yourself prone, flat, I would give you like 3/4 cover down there.
All right, so I'm going to make my way down to, it's 35 feet, so I would assume that's going to be maybe 40, 45 feet. So I'm going to put myself here, roughly. And see what I can see, and then crouch down. So I guess it would be like 3/4 cover, I guess. So as long as I can see what's going on, but the only thing really poking up above that is going to be my head.
Yeah, I think I'm counting 45 feet to get to that spot.
Okay. And I will also move here.
Okay.
And that would be my turn.
All right. Yeah, I'll give you but you're staying standing. You're not going prone, right?
I'm not prone. No, I'm just kind of.
Okay. So
down.
yeah, you'll get partial cover there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to Edram. You are up. You have. He was trying to kind of hide up on this ridge side, but now you're kind of on the same level here, as you're standing next to him and trying to get after him.
I am going to go for a bite and try to hamstring him.
Okay.
Doing dirty.
Nope.
Or not.
Nope. You feel your claw. You feel your teeth scrape off of the thick leather armor that they're wearing. Some type of animal hide kind of stuff. As it tries to kind of dance back from you and dips and dodges around.
Okay, that'll be the turn.
All right. Tove is going to... She's looking for a way to get her horse up. She'd have to ride around. But she gets 60 feet to do it. So she can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50... 55, 60 would put her there. She will do a dash on the horse. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So that she gallops along the ridges. She's having to take a winding, circuitous route to try to get to these people while still mounted. You see her charge off. Great sword comes off her back. She's low slung to the horse as she's riding hard. Brings us to our tribal warriors. So you see them kind of... They have a short bow. So we'll start with a short bow at trying to shoot Tove as she comes wheeling around. Actually, they have a long bow. So here's the first shot. And this is a normal, no disadvantage or anything. So normal shot at her. Arrow doesn't even come close as she's riding hard and fast. Misses. He takes another arrow. Takes sight. 15. Closer, but it careens off one of her pauldrons, doing no damage as the arrow snaps and is not able to penetrate her plate armor. We have a tribal warrior at the top. Actually, we're going to wait on that one a second. The one next to Edram had a longbow out, but now with this lion trying to attack has pulled out a short sword and is going to try to hit Edram with the short sword. So swings once towards Edram. With a 7, you're able to dance away with not even come close to you. Swings a second time. Misses once again. Both times not able to even come close to you as you skitter away. All kinds of low rolls now. This one on the ridge here at the bottom has seen this Drow elf racing along the edges. Does not have a great shot on him, but is going to try to use his longbow to get him. You're going to have a +2 to AC, Jarral, as 2 arrow shots come your way from the longbow. First one, 15. Oh, muted.
That misses.
Okay. You see him pull another arrow, sights, draws, fires. 18.
I believe that hits. Because I don't think I have the ring anymore, right? No, I don't. So, yes, that hits.
Okay. So, a 6
All right.
piercing damage, although PB was giving you a hint there in a camera.
Oh.
You missed her motion there.
I did. Oh. I keep forgetting to have that. Yeah, so I'm going to use a reaction. Deflect missiles. You can use your reaction to deflect or catch the missile when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. When you do so, the damage you take from the attack is reduced by 1d10 plus my dexterity plus my monk level. So let me do that. And that is going to be 1d10. Oops. And you gotta be crapping me, man. So I'm level 6,
1d10
so
plus
7. Oh, wait, no, that's reduced to 0.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're still okay.
Right.
It wasn't
So
that
if
big of
I
a...
reduce it to 0, I can catch the missile if it is small enough for me to hold in one hand, and I have at least one hand free, which I could do. If you catch a missile in this way, you can spend 1 key point to make a ranged attack with the weapon or piece of ammunition you just caught. As part of the same reaction, you can make this attack with proficiency regardless of your weapon proficiencies, and the missile counts as a monk weapon for the attack, which has a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. So I would assume that's a long range. So whatever that damage is, right? It's a 1...
So you are going to spend a key point. Now, I think what it is you can use your reaction and just let it go to 0. If you don't use a key point, it's basically you caught it and you don't want to do anything else with it. Or you do want to spend a key point and you're going to attempt to throw the arrow back at the person or somebody.
Yeah. I'm going to throw it at the guy that's attacking Edram.
Okay,
I don't think
so
it says
I
which
would
one
say roll a 1d20 plus 2 because you have proficiency.
Uh-huh.
And I think it is throwing is probably going to be probably strength. Well, it's an improvised weapon, right?
It would be
So I think
my
that's
dexterity, I think.
strength.
I think I can use this dexterity.
Improvised. Oh, okay. If there's some type of ability.
Yeah.
And you got to roll 2 of them because it'll be at disadvantage for the range.
I miss.
Oh yeah. So the lowest one would miss. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so 1 key point for that.
Yep.
Okay, but you didn't take any damage, so I don't know if it looks like you might have took some off. You might want to put it back.
Oh, yep.
And then the last one is going to. Yeah, is going to move up to. Actually, you see one begin to cast some type of ritual spell of some sort. You see apparitions begin to float around this person. And they move over towards Edram. Edram, you need to make... You see these ghostly-like apparitions floating around this person as he comes close to you. And you need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, snap.
Nailed it. Nicely done. You're going to take half damage. Okay, so let's roll roll 3d8. You will take half of this in necrotic damage. So this is going to be a 4 necrotic damage.
Yeah.
Or actually, we round up by 1, right? No. 4.
No, I
We'll
thought
just
we
say
round
4.
down.
Well, you say that now until you have to only do half the damage.
I thought we always ran down on.
I was thinking, yep, 4 necrotic damage. So that was the cast. That happens, and then that is their turn. That happens. Okay, yeah. So now we're on to Ardreth.
Okay, I'm just looking at one quick thing, just to make sure, real quick, to make sure this he wrote it incorrectly, and I'm not about to do something stupid. Nope. No. There's a lot of spells that start with CO, by the way, just in case you were curious. It is concentration. I knew it. He needs to fix this page. I'm going to use. Let me see what the range on this guy is. Oh, it's not very much. Oh, well then that changes that. I'm going to, within this area up here, this 60-foot area around here, I'm going to cast Call Lightning.
Okay. So let's do this. Let me go draw shape. Oh, objects and token. Yep. Draw shape. Hold Alt. What just happened? What is it doing? What's going on? Stop doing that. Won't let me draw.
And is it stormy outside right now? Has
This is
Yeah,
before. Yep, this is before the storm has hit you guys.
damn it. You couldn't give me that, Lucian.
I couldn't do it. You're gonna get it anyways. You're calling up your own.
No, but I get an extra D10 if there's already a storm going.
Oh, here we go. So you want 60 feet, right?
Yep, 60 feet in the battle arena.
So let's
It's
see.
a 60-foot radius.
Let's see what that's going to be. So from the middle, 60 out. From there, oh boy, that's going to be nice and big.
It's pretty much the entire thing.
Oh my god, yeah, I think it's most of it. Okay, yeah, I'm not even going to worry about it. It's pretty much the whole map. Okay.
I know. I thought it's a diameter also, and then I saw radius, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it's big.
And
so a storm roils and broils in. It's like the storm is coming from the east, and it's almost like you've ripped a part of it forward even faster than the rest of it as it kind of moves in. And if anybody were to look up into the sky, as you do that, as you look up into the sky, just as those clouds come in, you realize you thought you saw shapes above you. And then the clouds roil in.
That doesn't make me feel good. So I'm going to have this first come down over near these guys, right here on this, near this tree.
Okay.
So it hits them, but not my lion friend. So they need to make a dex save of 14. Otherwise, they take half damage.
Okay.
I think.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, half as much. I don't know what that is. 8? Yeah.
Okay. So the first one makes a dex save. An 11.
No.
So that'll
It
be
has
a
to be
full
14.
damage. Okay. And the I did it again. Other one. Dex. Oh, doesn't make it either. Yeah, both fail it.
And I'm going to give inspiration to I can't get you. Oh, I can. But you probably don't need it. I'm gonna give it to maybe you do need it. You know what, we're gonna give it to you. I'm gonna move up ahead just 5 feet. And give it to my lion friend. Give some bardic inspiration, being like, here's looking at you, kid. And then I move back behind this tree.
Oh, okay. So Jarral gets bardic inspiration?
No, my lion friend.
Oh, lion friend. Gotcha.
No, Jarral doesn't rate. My hopes were all up, and I'm like, oh, cool, I got it. And then I heard lion friend. Take me out.
No,
All right.
One of us is in danger.
Yeah, so your lightning bolt comes crashing down, and you see it just bolt through. Like when it hits, a fork of it hits off and sears this one tribal warrior who just falls over flat, smoking. The other one takes a singe, doesn't seem to seems to be injured by it, but is still standing. Although you felled one of them with a bolt of lightning.
And I, as I move forward to give, before I move back, I call out to Jarral and I say, there may be something in the sky. I don't know. Maybe we don't have to worry about it, but just letting you know. And I head back behind this tree.
Okay.
Jarral just looks around, looks up, looks at Ardreth, just kind of, what?
And that will bring us to top of the round. So Jarral will get to go.
Did I see anything when I looked up? Other than the storm cloud?
If you look up, you can go ahead and. No, you currently. Well, do a perception check. How about that? So you're going to look up on your turn, is what you're saying?
Well, if that's going to cost me an action, then no.
No, it's not. It's not an action.
Okay.
But it would happen on your turn, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would. So as soon as Ardreth says that, I'm gonna look up.
Okay. Yeah, you see you see shapes hurtling down. They're in the clouds, but it appears like they're coming down out of them. Seem to be fairly good sized.
Oh, that's what that arrow was for. So I'm going to yell. I'm assuming everybody can hear me from
And
here.
the shapes you see, you maybe not necessarily recognize what they are. It's too dark. The storm cloud that's just come roaring in is just blotted out the sun. They are pretty high up yet, diving down. You're thinking you see 4 of whatever it is.
All right, so I'm gonna yell out to everybody: ambush from the sky. And man, so to get up this hill, dang it, get up this hill would be difficult terrain.
Yeah. Yep. Any of the cliffs and hills are difficult terrain.
All right, so
So you'd use 10 feet instead of 5 feet.
30, 35, 45. So that should get me to. I think that should get me to right here. And I'm going to attack the dude in front of me. So I will not have had a chance to get my short swords out.
You can't stop in a spot of another player.
That one's dead, isn't it?
Oh, are you where Edram is? Because it looks like
No.
you're where Edram is. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, so go back there. Let me send this guy to the back, like that. All right. That also would be standing in the area where that corpse is. That's also difficult terrain, just so you know. So if there's
it is?
If there's a corpse in the square, yeah, difficult terrain to move through.
I'll instead go there.
Okay. Yeah, that still works. You still get a chance to.
All right. So actually, you know what? So I will have climbed up the little whatever that is, and as I step up to the top, just kind of reach in, grab my short sword, and start slashing at the other guy.
Nope. 2 misses.
All right. So the tree is kind of distracting me. 2 misses.
Yeah. Well, it was, the climbing, you'd had to pull it out. Maybe there's a little bit of rain. Drops have dropped down. The sword feels a little loose. He is dodging kind of left and right, very wary of a lion and now a drow elf who has raced up the hill towards them.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, you see apparitions around that creature too. You need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Right now or at the end?
Yeah. The minute you get within 5 feet.
Oh, crap. Wisdom saving throw?
Wisdom saving throw. Oh, made it. So you take half. So you see these apparitions try to affect you. You're fighting them off with your will, but you still are feeling some of their necrotic touch damage hit you. And it is a slash roll. Oh, can I just do this? Nope. Of course I can't. Why would that work? That would never work. So let's just do it the old-fashioned way. 3D. Where'd it go? 3D.
3D2?
3D8. Okay, so 3D8. But it'll be half.
Oh my god, I hope so. Good god.
Yeah, so half a 17, so 8.
What the heck?
8 necrotic damage.
Alright, so that's not good at all. All right, so I'm going to spend a key point for patient defense. I'm going to take the dodge action as a bonus action on my turn.
Okay,
And
so you're
that's my
taking a
turn.
dodge.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to... Ooh, okay. Brings us to this. Streaking out of the sky. Diving down. As they get closer, you realize you can see feathered wings that are kind of in the diving, like the straight down diving formation, close and cropped back, streaking down with incredible speed. We are going to move a few of these into the correct spots.
The correct spots would not be on this map.
Wait a minute, I'm missing one. Oh wait, no. Yeah, that's right. That's the right amount. Okay, so now let's bring them out so you can see them. Token layer.
Oh my lord.
So what you see is 3 griffins come streaking out of the sky and try to... One is trying to attack Ardreth and pull him off of the horse. Same with this griffin. After Tove is going to try to grab and pull her from her horse. This one has landed on the ground and is ready to reach out. 2 of them have riders. Control C. So I need to... This one. And this one. Have riders on them. The other one does not. The other one has no rider. All right. So let's go through the rounds here. So for the griffin without a rider is going to make a single attack. Is going to try to... I think grapple Ardreth off of the horse. So I think that's going to be an opposed check. And it's going to be its strength first. You can use dexterity, or you could use... Yeah, probably dexterity, athletics type check. Does he have... You could use athletics if you have it. We'll do an opposing check. Let me set up these. I didn't do that.
We're being grappled?
Yeah, he's trying to grab you and pull you off the horse. Always roll advantage.
Yeah, that would be athletics or acrobatics for me. I guess this one's the better one. Not that it really matters. It's me making the check.
That's pretty good. Auto roll.
Yeah, until you roll like any... Oh, at least I rolled over a 10. That's a first in my life.
Yeah, that should be good. Let's see.
A 14, yeah.
There you go, 13. So you were not pulled down from the horse, and it lands... Actually, a better spot for it to land is probably here. As it lands next to you. And is on the ground. It is now... It tried to pull you when it comes screeching out of the sky to pull you off. It wasn't able to do that. Now it looks like it's ready to rear up and try to just claw you to death whenever it can. When it can. The other one's going to try the same thing on Tove. So we're going to do a strength check. 16. Tove, where you at? There you are. Do you have any athletics? You do have athletics, so we'll do athletics. Yeah, she's able to stay on her mount. In fact, she's able to. She slides to the side on the saddle. She's riding on sideways as it streaks by her. Then it lands on the. Actually, it's going to swoop and stay flying as it did not get her. It stays flying at an even level. The person on riding will throw.
She's a badass.
Oh, that's not the one I want. Hold on. Oh, that is one of them. But I need a... I thought I got a... Oh, maybe it's called something else. Hold on. Sorry. It's not that. It's this. It's a different name. That's the one I wanted. There we go. But it doesn't have what I thought. Shoot. All right. Well, we'll just take a... I'm just going to do a D20 roll. Because he's going to throw a javelin. I thought I had that on that character sheet, but it didn't. Slash roll 1D20 plus throwing a javelin's a dexterity, so +1. So a javelin streaks out and completely misses Tove riding her horse. All right, perfect. All right, the last one. This warrior jumps off, dismounts, and then as its action in front of our lion. And a griffin then tries to rake its claws against the lion here. So we see our griffin. So this is against Edram. And we see a claw reach out and try to get Edram at 19.
Yep.
All right, so the claws rake across your side for 16 slashing damage. And then you see as the claws go scraping by, its beak slashes out. 18?
Yep.
Now the rolls are coming. For 6 more piercing damage as the beak chomps more onto your haunch.
Yep. And that's just enough to kill the lion shape.
All right, so you... Okay. Hey, this time I'm ready for that, though. Look, objects and tokens. We'll take you over here a second. And we'll go... I'll just leave you there.
Doing something with one of these. Every time I lose it.
And GM layer. And back to token layer. There you are. And let's move you back over. Oh. All right, so you turn back into the shape of Edram from that second attack. And that ends their turn. Edram, you're up.
What time of day is this? Is this like 11 a.m.?
This was just before noon. The storm hadn't quite caught up to you yet, so yeah, it's like, maybe 10, 11-ish.
I don't have any more wild shapes.
Okay.
Well, that cost me my pack tactics attack advantage.
Oh, yeah, you just had got it. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to go after the caster here with mace.
Oh, okay. You need to make a wisdom saving throw starting your turn. You still make it, so you only take half the damage.
Oh my god.
When what you're seeing are these weird ghostly spirit apparitions floating around this person. 8 necrotic damage onto Edram.
Crap.
And now you can do your thing.
Man, he's got that persistent damage.
It's if
and
you
he's got a-
if you start your turn in that, you have to make the roll. Ooh, 20 crashes into him. 6 bludgeoning. Yeah, that's a good hit. You see him kind of wobble as you crash into him. He needs to make a concentration check for that, which I believe is con check. Yeah, the spell goes down. You've damaged him. You've interrupted his concentration, and you see the spectral apparitions kind of disappear.
Awesome.
And that is my turn.
Okay. Yeah, we'll finish the end of this round, and then we'll call it for tonight. So that brings us to Tove. This one's still flying, so she really doesn't have a chance at it. She's going to continue to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Will use a dash, but she can't quite get there to attack, but she's going to tie this person up. That will be Tove's turn. The warrior will try to hit her with a short sword now as she comes up. So she swings once, misses, swings twice, hits for 4 piercing damage on Tove. So she has a wound open up as it finds its way through her plate armor. That one's dead. Edram, one of them... Oh, no. Yeah, so it's going to move 5, 10, 15, 20. Nope, that'd be 30 to get to there. So kind of runs over and tries to short sword Jarral. So here's short sword number 1. 17.
I don't have advantage, right? Or that plus
No,
2?
no cover at melee range.
Oh, that's right. That was cover. That hit.
Okay, 4 piercing damage. It does a backswing for an 8, which would miss. No damage.
Yeah.
That one's done. That one's done. One tries to... That one's a different one. So he can't go. He can't go. Yeah, because you killed the other one. So they're done. Ardreth, finish us off for tonight. Final action before we go and call this session. What would you like to do, our bard, played by PB, tonight?
Oh, man. I am going to use just quick check. Make sure this is not concentration, because sometimes uses they're not when they really are. It's not. I'm going to use Dissonant Whispers on this Griffon right in front of me.
Nice.
So that's the...
Wisdom saving
stuff.
throw.
Yep. I'm doing it at 2nd level.
Only gets a 10, so it should affect it.
Okay, so at second, what does this mean? 2nd level increases by 1d6. Okay, so it's regularly 2d6. Okay, so it's going to take 4d6 of damage, and it must immediately use its reaction to get as far away from me as possible.
Okay.
From
bird.
4d6, and it's going to take 16 damage, psychic damage.
Yeah, it comes over here. Ooh, 16. Nice hit.
Sorry, not sorry. And I'm going to use my action to... I'm going to get inside the trees. I'm going to be as inconvenient to get as possible. I'm going to, like, squeeze in.
Then you're going to dismount then?
Yeah, for sure.
The bird couldn't have gone south.
Yeah. So if you dismount, you'll get partial cover from this area over here if you dismount like into this spot.
How about what happens if I get like into some of the more patchy areas? Or
I don't think it'll be any different. They're not big enough trees to cover you completely.
okay,
They're more scraggly in this hilly area.
all right. And so I slap the horse's butt,
Yeah.
and I have it run away from us,
Nice.
from this way. And I'm like, don't get too far, because Ardreth loves that horse, and I'm not going to let anything bad happen to it. And I'm going to get into that little area, and did I do any? I guess. I mean, I should do it. I'm gonna give bardic inspiration to our elven friend or drow friend,
Yay!
All right.
and I'll have the last one for cutting words for later. All right.
That brings us to the end of that round, and that is be our end of our session for tonight. An epic battle with the Uthgart Griffon tribe has attacked our adventurers in the hills. So when we come back, not next Thursday, but the Thursday after, we will continue this battle, and we will see how this turns out. This is a tough battle for them. It'll be interesting, I think, but they've got a lot of tools to use to take on these guys. So it'll be very good fight. You definitely don't want to miss it. So I want to thank everybody for joining. Make sure you can check out everybody's channels. MC Colonel has a YouTube channel you can look at. He's been doing streaming over on, I always forget the name of it, Mixer. And then PB's been doing streaming on Twitch quite a bit, sometimes YouTube, and also has a YouTube channel. You can check out her videos over there. You can check out my videos on Twitch, SirLucien, or over on YouTube, just do a search for SirLucien, all one word, and you'll find all of the videos if you missed anything for here. You have just witnessed session 49. Not this Monday coming up, but the one after that. You will have session 50, and we will be back up at the Eye of the Allfather, and we will see how that turned out after the big giant stone rock had nearly killed a couple of our characters. So don't miss that, starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So thanks for joining. Everybody have a wonderful evening. I'll leave chat up for just a little bit, and then we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, BB.
No problem.